back to another video. Now, today's video, guys, we're going to be doing round 3 of the horror slasher killer matchups, and in this round, it is going to be Michael Myers from the Halloween franchise versus Jason Voorhees from the Friday the 13th franchise. But first, of course, I do have some announcements to make. So I know this is probably one of the most anticipated redos on my channel. This was one of my favorite ones to do ever at the beginning of my channel, and I'd get really mad and aggressive at other people's opinions for this. But truthfully, and I'm going to talk about this more when I get into the main section, this was a very, very difficult decision. Not at all clear-cut. And I kind of just decided it off the fly. This is not my first take, by the way. I made a first take, and I decided I wanted to do a retake because there were a lot of things that I missed that I wanted to talk about. So on that first try, it was just kind of off the fly. Now it's not, so, you know, it kind of ruins the fun, but oh well. But as far as general announcements go, I'm sorry I did not make a video in the next couple weeks. I was kind of wondering if I should still continue off of making the rounds or do something different. So I uploaded a poll, asked you guys if you wanted to see the updated Goosebumps collection or if you wanted to see this round, and I decided, despite what the poll said, that I would do round 3 and wait to get accumulate a few more books that I need, and then we will do the updated Goosebumps collection, which will likely come out sometime next month, a year after my previous Goosebumps collection, and which I'll replace it with the new and updated one here. So, also I've just been busy with other stuff. This week, or this last weekend, it was my birthday, so I was doing a party, and also I was working, and then the weekend before that, I had a taekwondo tournament. So yeah, I've been pretty busy, but today I decided I had the motivation to do this, and I probably could have done it earlier, but I really wanted to take some time to decide this and really figure out if I was okay with my decision, and I'll probably regret it after there is some discussion in the comment section. So, yeah, that's it for general announcements. Other than that, as I always say, read the community posts so that you can stay up to date with any potential future changes, and, what was the other thing? Join the Discord, link will always be in the description of every video. Other than that, let's get on to the main portion. First, as always, we need to go over the stats, and then I'll do a little bit of a discussion at the end. And let me just say this right off the bat, this is very, very difficult to decide. It seems like every round, I say this, but truthfully, this has been the most difficult to decide because every round, there's just a new layer that makes it even more difficult to decide, and I'm not ready for doing the final round because that's probably going to be very, very difficult to decide. Even more difficult than this, but I don't know how you could outbeat this. I mean, what makes it so difficult is that these two are eerily similar. There's a lot of variables. I feel like if I choose one of them, I am dissing the other one, and yeah, I have so much love for these two franchises, and truthfully, this was a very, very difficult decision for me to make, but let's just go over the general stats. This is not going to determine who the winner is, but this is going to be a general stats. It's going to tell you basically the average stats for each of the killers, because in the general discussion, I'm going to be telling you who's the highest, like the most powerful version of each killer, and I'm going to be putting those two together because I think it's only fair that I give both of them their very highest potential against the other one's highest potential, and that would also make sense in the upcoming rounds where even more powerful killers are going up against each other. So, general stats, let's go over Jason's stats first. Weapon/power utility, and this is not going to be based off of powers. This is going to be based off of weapons this time because, of course, they don't have any really powers like telekinesis or anything like that. Obviously, superhuman strength, but this is going to be more based off of weapons. So, for weapon/power utility, I'm going to be giving Jason a 7 out of 10. And I think the main thing that brings down Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees from getting a 10 out of 10 for this one is because I feel like Jason and Michael are sometimes a little bit too reliant on their main weapons, a little bit too comfortable, and when they have to resort to an environmental weapon that is much weaker, it's yeah, they're just not as comfortable with it, not as good with it. But I'm giving Jason Voorhees a 7 out of 10. He has used a wide range of weapons, not just the machete throughout the movies, but obviously mainly the machete. For durability, I'm giving a 9 out of 10. In the comics, explicitly, but also in the movies, not as explicit, Jason has been seen to have regenerative powers. So the only reason I'm giving him a 9 out of 10 is because he still has the capability of being stunned and stopped temporarily. So he's just not like this unstoppable force that you can just keep punching and he's never going to stop. He does have the capability of being stunned temporarily, so I'm giving him a 9 out of 10 for durability. For hand-to-hand combat, easy 10 out of 10. He has gone against very, very strong, just regular humans, but he's also gone against Freddy Krueger, who does have some decent hand-to-hand combat skills and was a difficult matchup for Jason Voorhees in terms of hand-to-hand combat, as we've seen in that final battle. But also, biggest example I would give is in Part 8, when he was going up against that one shorter dude, the boxer guy, who was just barraging him with punches, and he goes in with one swing and completely punches off his head. Biggest example right there. So for the total amount of points for Jason Voorhees is going to be 26 points for the average score. And the other ones, I don't really give an average score, but because there's multiple timelines and multiple versions of these two, this is kind of more of just like an average score. It's not going to be a predeterminer of who wins. So Michael Myers, weapon/power utility, I'm giving him a 6 out of 10 pretty much for the same reasons as Jason Voorhees, but the only reason I give him a 6 out of 10 is because I think it's safer to assume that in a real life scenario, it's likely going to be Michael Myers with his kitchen knife going up against Jason Voorhees with his machete, in which Jason would have the advantage with the machete in terms of weapons. For durability, I'm giving Michael Myers an 8 out of 10. This is due just to the fact that anything that Michael Myers has been able to tank, Jason Voorhees has been able to do plus more. He's just shown more throughout the movies to make him look like a more durable, unstoppable killer than Michael Myers has. And I think that's really just because Michael Myers, they don't want to give it a clear cut whether or not he's mortal or immortal. And that's an interesting layer that I like to Michael Myers, but it makes it so difficult to decide because it's really hard to decipher whether or not Michael Myers is mortal or immortal. There's never really been a clear answer to that, unlike with Jason Voorhees with his undead version of himself in the later installments. Hand-to-hand combat, giving him a 9 out of 10. Once again, this is just because Michael Myers just falls a little bit short in terms of how much he has shown throughout the movies. Jason has the advantage of going up against Freddy Krueger. Michael Myers has never been able to do that, although he has gone against various humans who have tried to fight him off, and he's easily destroyed them and shown really, really good strength and combat skills. So, in total, I'm giving Michael Myers a total of 23 points. So now let's go into the general discussion. So, actually, I'll repeat the total points. Jason Voorhees, 26 points. Michael Myers, 23 points. Falling short a little bit on each category, which gave him a 3-point shortage up against Jason Voorhees. But that will not end it right away. Let's get into the general discussion. So, first of all, what is the highest potential for both of these killers? For Jason Voorhees, I would say either Part 7 or Part 8 Jason. Obviously, in the first 5, well, Part 5 is not even Jason Voorhees, so I'm not even going to talk about that, but in the first 4, Jason is really just a regular old human, and he was killed in the final chapter, but in Part 6, he was brought back to life as an undead version of himself, in which he was much more powerful, clearly much more powerful than he was in the first 4 installments. So I would go with his most powerful version. I would go with Part 7 and 8. Although you could argue the remake, even though he's not undead in the remake, very intimidating, very strong. So there's an argument there. But personally, I would say it would either be Part 7 or Part 8 Jason for the most powerful. Especially considering in Part 7 he went up against somebody who had telekinetic powers. So yeah. And for Michael Myers, a couple years ago, if you asked me what is the most powerful Michael Myers, in your opinion, in the movies? Like, what has been his highest potential that you've seen in the franchise? I probably would have told you the Michael Myers remakes, and I'm sure a lot of you would agree with that still now, probably. But after seeing Halloween Kills, that kind of shakes it up a little bit. As we've seen in Halloween Kills, Myers was able to take out mobs of people, which, as a horror fan and a fan of the Halloween franchise, was not a big fan of making him just look like this, like ridiculously unstoppable, implausible killer. But nonetheless, we can't judge him for that. He was able to take out mobs of people, trick mobs of people. I mean, literally, the mob was convinced that they were chasing after Michael Myers, but they ended up making a innocent man kill himself. So I would say Myers' highest potential would be Halloween Kills now. Just based on being able to take out mobs of people with bats and clubs swinging at each other, and he was able to take them out with ease. I mean, he was stunned a couple times, but he came through, as we've seen towards the end of the movie. So, in the battle, what would likely take place is it would be either Part 7 or Part 8 Jason for the highest potential versus Halloween Kills Jason. And Myers would wield the kitchen knife, and Jason Voorhees would wield the traditional machete. But who would win? Who would win ultimately? Who would come out on top going up against these two versions of each other going up against each other? Well, this would be a unique type of fight because unlike the others, I think multiple battles would likely have to take place, much like how in Freddy Krueger versus Jason Voorhees movie, there was a bunch of little mini battles until they finally had the final battle where they understood each other's weaknesses, they used them against each other, and there wasn't really any clear winner, but Jason Voorhees came out on top, but obviously we've seen that Freddy Krueger wasn't dead because he winked his eye or whatever, but they understood each other's weaknesses and they used them against each other. And I think a very similar thing would take place in Michael Myers versus Jason Voorhees. What would likely happen is that multiple battles would take place, and the reason for that would be either Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers would take out each other, think that the other guy is dead, and they would come back to life, they would fight each other again, and each time they would learn more and more and more about each other until they realized ultimately how they can stop this other person. So I know some of you are saying, well, Jason has regenerative powers. I mean, he was literally blown up and he was still able to, his soul was still carrying on or anything like that. In the case of this battle, I think it would make more sense that Michael Myers is just able to, obviously he's not going to kill his spirit or whatever. He doesn't have any unique powers that would allow him to send his spirit to hell. And even then, in the Jason Goes to Hell scenario where Jason's spirit basically takes on other bodies, Michael Myers would easily be able to defeat those other versions of himself because they're not as strong as the regular undead Jason Voorhees. They don't have the same attributes as him. Even if that was the case, that he kept killing Jason over and over again, it would be no match for Michael Myers. He would easily kill those other versions of Jason Voorhees. But the real question is now, would Michael Myers be able to defeat undead Jason Voorhees, stopping him to the point where he would have to, as in Jason Goes to Hell, take on different versions of other people? I think yes, and I don't think, when Jason Goes to Hell, it necessarily required him to be just sent to hell so that only his spirit was left and not his body. He was simply blown up in Jason Goes to Hell, and he couldn't regenerate in that scenario, so he had to take on different versions of his body. So ultimately, very, very difficult decision, but I think Michael Myers would come out on top. And as always, as I always say at the end of these discussions, tell me what you guys think at the end in the comment section down below. I would like to see some discussion. I haven't really been seeing a whole lot of that in the other ones, so I want some discussion. Prove me wrong. Maybe there's something that I missed. Please tell me in the comment section down below. But once again, guys, this was a very, very difficult decision. And in the last take, when I had to do this off the fly, just so many things were going through my head. I thought I was gonna like instantly regret that decision and stuff like that. But ultimately, I think Michael Myers would have the capabilities to defeat Undead Jason, um, and stop his regular body. So, what does that mean? Michael Myers will be moving on to round 6, going up against Candyman. So it's going to be Michael Myers versus Candyman in round 6. The next round will be Chucky versus Leprechaun. And in round 5, it is going to be Pinhead versus Pennywise. So, yeah, we got some interesting rounds coming up. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Make sure you stay tuned for the updated Goosebumps collection, hopefully coming out by next month. And read the community post so that you can stay up to date. Join the Discord. Link will always be in the description of every video. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say, other than just one more time, I'll say it again. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. I'd like to have some discussion with some of you. I know this is not a clear-cut answer. This is very, very 50-50. It can go either way. And I would like to hear some new points that maybe I didn't bring up in this video. So, yeah, tell me that in the comment section down below. Other than that, like and subscribe, guys, and I'll see you next time.